Now, our next speaker. We get to introduce not Christina, just Christina Henderson, Christina Quick Henderson.
Yeah.
What a great name.
Yeah, that was
From
my maiden name.
The Montana High-Tech Business Alliance, sometimes referred to as MCBA. It's a hard one.
Actually, only this time has it been referred to as MCBA.
That's why I said
Yeah.
sometimes, not always. But we're glad to have you here.
Thank you.
Let's roll.
Thank you. Well, I'm Christina Henderson. I'm the Executive Director of the Montana High-Tech Business Alliance. Some of you in this room are members, and some of you, like for instance Quilty Box, I would love to have as members, and we can talk more about what membership means. But basically today I want to tell you a really exciting story about what's happening in Montana, and particularly what's happening to our economy and the opportunity for our wages to go up and have lots of high-paying jobs in the state. I apologize at the outset that we have a little bit of a font transfer issue between PC and Mac, so there may be some wonky font things, but hopefully the message will still get across. And I'm also going to talk about 3 trends that we see among our members in high-tech and manufacturing in Montana. The Montana High-Tech Business Alliance was founded about a year and a half ago in April of 2014. I'm the founding executive director. It got its start in Bozeman. There were 7 technology executives, well actually 6 technology executives and 1 economic developer. The economic developer had the idea to form industry groups around fast-growing sectors of the economy. So they have an outdoor industry alliance in Bozeman. They have a Photonics Alliance in Bozeman. So they approached the tech community about creating a high-tech alliance. And the industry leaders said, this is great, we want to do it, but we don't want it to be just in Bozeman, we want it to be statewide. And we're going to raise some funds and hire an executive director. So they hired me here in Missoula. And we thought that maybe by the end of the year we'd get to 50 members, and we got to 150 members. So again, that fast growth that we didn't anticipate. And today, after a year and a half, we have 235 member companies in the state of Montana, all high tech and manufacturing, and then also some affiliates that, like banks and law firms that are part of what we do. About a third of our members are in Missoula, a little more than a third are in Bozeman, and the rest are scattered around the state of Montana. Let me go back a minute and say, you know, we define high tech as companies that make high-tech products or provide high-tech services that use skilled labor and high-tech materials to do what they do. Also, we include high-tech consulting, and e-commerce is part of what we consider tech. And then if you're in other related industries, like if you do patent law or something like that, you can join as an affiliate member and be part of the organization. The state of Montana is in such a great place right now for startups. So maybe you've heard, but according to the Kaufman Index of Startup Activity, Montana has been the #1 state for startups per capita for the last 3 years running. We also, according to Gallup surveys, are the #1 state for employee engagement. So in 2013 and 2014, which is the last data set that's been taken, Montana is the #1 state for employee engagement. And what that means is that our employees are enthusiastic about their work, passionate about their jobs, connected to their companies, they're more productive, and they are driven for innovation and growth. So you can imagine, so often we hear about that Montana work ethic as an asset to doing business here. It's actually in the data, so it's really exciting to see that. And we have conducted a survey. We started it last year. We conducted a survey of 100 of our member high-tech and manufacturing firms. We found that the overall industry is growing 8 to 10 times the Montana economy and paying twice the median wage. And we're going to actually redo this survey again this month, launching it tomorrow. And so then we'll be able to track this data year over year and the growth in this state. So you can see that this industry is an incredible opportunity for our state. We're unfortunately 49th in the nation for per capita wages, and so this industry holds a lot of potential to move us out of that spot and up into the middle. What we do as an organization is connect, promote, and accelerate the growth of our member companies. So connect, we host networking events. It was mentioned a few minutes ago that we're having a reception in Missoula tomorrow. Unfortunately, the RSVP has closed, but we'll be back in Missoula again next year. We host about 5 networking events a year, and we move them around the state. And depending on where we're at, we either have, between 50 in Lewistown, let's say, to up to 150 members when we go to Bozeman. We promote the industry. So the interesting thing about the high-tech industry is that it's kind of hidden, and a lot of people don't realize what's here. They don't realize the jobs that are out there, and they don't realize the incredible growth that we've had in the last, say, 5 to 10 years even. A lot of these companies, the vast majority of their customers are outside of Montana. They're hidden in, back in industrial parks or on the second floor above your typical shops in town, so they're not really customer facing, and you might not know that they're there. So we're out to promote these companies, to talk about them and let people know what's happening in Montana. We also are out to accelerate the growth of our members. Their number one barrier to growth is finding enough high-tech talent. And so we have a jobs portal on our website at mthighitech.org/jobs. We go out to, I've literally been in 10 different events this month in computer science classrooms, at career fairs, talking to students, talking to job seekers about the jobs that are available in Montana. And you can subscribe to this website and get an update in your email inbox every Monday with new jobs and internships that are posted. So 3 of the trends that we see are industry clusters, serious startups, and remote workforce. Industry clusters, what we see is that there are certain groups of sub-industries that we have a lot of in Montana that are growing. One is software. We've got literally dozens of software companies in our membership, and a lot of people don't know they're out there. So for example, Edgelog in Missoula is in a former sugar beet plant behind Target. It's a red brick building, absolutely no signage, and they employ more than 100 people. They just landed a new contract to help bus women to school in Saudi Arabia, and they're going to be hiring a lot more people in the near future to support that contract. But they've been around in Missoula probably 20, 25 years, and people don't know that they're there. Advanced Technology Group is in the professional services sector, which is another fast-growing sector in Montana. In about 5 or 6 years that they've had their Missoula office, they've grown to 60 employees. They have a recruiting relationship with the MIS department in the business school here, and they're hiring all these young people and sending them out to the world and growing incredibly fast. And Tom Sturgis, who founded that office for the company, has ambitions to grow it to 100 or 150. So another fast-growing sector. We also have a lot of serious startups. And when I say serious startups, historically, people have looked to Montana and not necessarily seen like companies that you would invest venture capital in that were kind of companies that you could do a deal on. And we have a lot more of those today. So with the sale of Right Now Technologies in Bozeman, there are a lot of people that used to work for that big technology firm that are now launching companies. I think DropTrip was here a few weeks ago and talked, so that would be an example. Or Helix Business Solutions, which is in Dillon and Bozeman. He's a former Right Now guy. Ignite Feedback in Bozeman, former Right Now guy. But a lot of these folks are talking to venture capital firms, and then we have Next Frontier Capital in Montana that is also a venture fund. So the last thing I'll say is we have remote workforce. So Doug Odegaard, for example, is a developer here. He has a company, Intralogics, and he's like the expert to go to in Montana to talk about remote workforce. But a lot of people work for companies elsewhere and kind of bring their jobs into Montana and make a good living doing it that way, particularly around Missoula. Seems to be the case. So you can find jobs on our website, or you can also join. So companies under 5 employees can join for free or with a voluntary donation and participate in all of our resources and networking events. And then we have tiered memberships for companies over 5 based on employment. But I'd be happy to welcome questions.
Great. It is time for questions. Who's got our first one? Thank you.
Christina, how you doing?
Good, Kyle.
Question about what success looks like for the Montana High Tech Alliance. So in a year, you've been able to have a huge membership growth. 1 year from now, what would be, if you continue to add members, is that considered a success, or what are some of the other goals of the High Tech Alliance? And is that bringing jobs? Is that seeing, more companies start up here? I guess, can you clarify that for me?
Yeah, Well, I think it depends on who you talk to. My personal goal is I want to see the statistics change. So I want to see the economic data change so that we're not 49th in the nation for wages. Like, I want that number to move. So that's kind of my, in the back of my mind, goal at any given time. I think we're always looking to grow membership. The fascinating thing, and one of the things I love about my job, is it's like you go to, wherever I go, you can like turn over a rock and find an awesome company. And there's so many examples. We have actually a really diverse membership. So we have everything from like people making cryogenic microscopes for academic research institutions to, you know, women-owned companies that are, you know, with social network film platforms and stuff. So it's like really diverse what we've got. And I think that I at least want to see every company that could be a member in Montana invited. And so I guess that's one ask. You know, you guys always ask what can we do, is if you know a company that would be eligible for membership, please refer them our way, because we'd love for every company in Montana to at least be invited. And then, you know, we certainly would love to grow our membership as big as it could get. And we've consistently, since we launched, grown about 20% per quarter. So it would be great to see that number continue to grow. But we also really focus on kind of the value and the results. So if we can get good media coverage for our companies, we publish a lot of original content about member companies. So we write their stories and publish them through our website. And when those get picked up, like in traditional news sources, that's really exciting for us. The high-tech survey, we got, I think it was 25 or 30 media stories from coast to coast, so that was really exciting. And just to see Montana talked about nationally and viewed nationally as a player in this space would be really exciting for us.
Cool.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Can you talk a little bit about some of the member benefits, just a little bit more, and sort of like, for instance, like what's going on tomorrow?
Yeah.
And also, obviously, you can join. Obviously, you can ideally find some, if you seek it out. Hey, I'm a fellow member. I need some advice on this. You can seek out your own mentorship, but it's or advice, but it's not set up specifically. You can post jobs, but talk about some of the biggest benefits to being a member of the High Tech Alliance. And I know those are different. We're a small two employee member. Then there's larger companies. If you could maybe, based on your size, hit on some of those key benefits, including obviously opportunities like tomorrow.
Yeah, so the number one reason that companies join the Alliance is the networking. So we host these member receptions around the state. So tomorrow we have one at First Interstate Bank here in Missoula. We have about 175 people, or I'm sorry, 125 people RSVP'd for that. And it's just a couple hours of open networking. And so it's an opportunity to meet other people working in this space. A lot of business owners are very nose to the grindstone and really, you know, focused on building their company. So it's a great chance to meet their peers. And I would say one thing that's unique about our network is that we really focus on getting the founders and the executive level principals in the room. So those are the people that we really encourage and try to get to show up to the event, so that you're really talking with other decision makers about problems that you might share. Prior to those events, members that are at the bronze level and above, so basically, you know, a $500 level membership or above, we have a CEO roundtable meeting in the different cities, and the CEOs, you know, or top managers sit around a table and they talk about issues that they're dealing with, you know, in their companies. A lot of those meetings have focused on workforce issues and hiring, training, and then the one in Missoula tomorrow will focus on financing growth and ways that companies are doing that. And we have usually a couple members talk about what they're doing that's working, and then we have an open discussion in the room about what can we do as an organization to help solve these challenges that everybody's facing. We also put all our members on our website, and we can track the links, so a lot of those get clicked so people can get directed to your website through your membership in the Alliance. And then if you're the higher membership levels, you can bring more people to the receptions. You can send somebody to the CEO roundtable. you usually get more visibility in our marketing. So a lot of the companies that we tend to focus our resources on writing about are the ones that are doing a lot of employing and growth in the state. But then we also publish a weekly newsletter, and so any company that has a news item or an exciting announcement, we put that in our newsletter and put it out to all the membership. So what else? And then the jobs portal. So any company can post jobs in the jobs portal, and then we actively promote that through social media and in-person visits and any way that we can.
I'm going to follow up with myself, with myself. So back to that different benefit levels. Is there any thought or opportunity, being one of those small businesses that's not at the bronze level, unless I chose to make a voluntary donation to get myself into that level? However, being one of those small staff size CEOs, a lot of those conversations would actually be, as I talk to other startups that are in a similar place to me, would be really advantageous, not necessarily to participate in, but just to have like a fly on the wall position in. Is there any talk, or have there been any requests about opening up seats that are not at the round table, but maybe, like just being able to listen in? And I'm clearly asking from a self-serving standpoint, but also from feedback that I get from other startups. The information that would be discussed is clearly private, but it's also really beneficial when you think to yourself, I am hiring my first, second, third, fourth person this year, and I will be able to be at that round table, and I want to learn from what these people already know so that I can do it right the first time and not reinvent the wheel. Just thinking other ways to expand the membership and get small business CEOs access to the knowledge of the more experienced ones.
Yeah, I think that's a great suggestion, and we could talk about that. One of the challenges with the CEO roundtables has been finding spaces for them, and also, it's like, I would say we have typically between 20 and 40 CEOs in the room. And so to find a boardroom where this space would work, or First Interstate Bank has a space, or we've been in somebody's house where half the people have had to stand, and so physically, I'm a little we'd have to figure out some of the space issues, but we might be able to make it work, or I don't know, have a certain number of spaces that could be available, first come first serve.
You
Or
have to apply for it. I mean, it would be you had to put the initiative to qualify for those two fly on the wall seats.
We do because the startups are really important to us. So we don't want to create some kind of tiered membership where if you're not at the bronze level and above, you don't get access to a lot of these things. But so for instance, we do lightning talks at our receptions where we have about 20 minutes of talking, and we feature a few companies in the local area. And so in Bozeman last year, for instance, we opened it up and anybody could apply to speak. And so we had a lot of our, just basic member level companies that were able to talk about their, what they're doing and their startups in that venue. And so we've done a lot of, we've done some of that. There is precedent, so it could definitely be an option. And we also do write a recap of some of that. So we've had some really good articles that we've published that have been summaries of the tips, for example, how to hire people into Montana. We've got 12 tips for that, or we're publishing this week a recap of the working with education, partnerships and higher education discussions. So we try to, capture that knowledge and send it out too, but we could maybe look at ways that we might actually get some people in the room that would benefit from being there. Paul?
Hi. So I'm really excited you're doing the kind of survey, the BBR research again. That'll be really great. And I think that's been really valuable data points and kind of reference for a lot of the work that you've been doing for the high-tech industry. And I know you've got plenty on your plate, but if there was one other sort of initiative or kind of project that you could do that would really sort of move the whole sort of program forward, is there something you'd really like to be able to try and do over the next 12 to 18 months?
Ooh. Yes, definitely. I would like to do more with our marketing. So actually, Kyle and GeoFly are members, and so we have ambitions that we were just talking about to really revamp our website, include more information in our member list that's searchable, and do more to get our organization found and the stories that we're telling about the state found at a national level. I think at the national level, PR and engagement would be a top priority. We were a co-sponsor of the Montana High Tech Job Summit in Bozeman in September, which was a tremendous event. They expected 300 people. They had 600 people and speakers from all across the country. And one thing that we tried to do was to help our members that were interested in meeting with some of the bigger name speakers that were coming in. We'd set up about a dozen meetings for those folks, and including connecting some of the promising startups with venture capitalists that were coming to speak that might be interested in investing in their companies. And so I see that we're in a unique position because we represent so many members that we're kind of a hub of a network. And so we can both provide information collectively about what our members are doing, but also try to serve as a base where if investment firms want to do some investing in Montana, we can be a source for that. So we've talked about, putting together more of a database of companies that are ready and interested to raise funding, and then be able to introduce those, that list to outside firms that might be interested. So I think some of those activities were, gaining attention, both in a general sense of the exciting stories that we can tell, but also making those contacts and setting up meetings. We try to do some of that too. And then recruiting is that's a challenge that's ongoing. And so I think that'll be something that we really want to kind of crack the nut of how do we, particularly I think we can do a lot, and we are doing a lot more with getting into classrooms and educating Montana students about opportunities for them to stay in the state to start their career. But we really, a lot of firms struggle with getting alumni or people that would love to get back to Montana and reaching them with job opportunities. And so that's another space where I hope we can figure out ways to do that.
A bit of good news was I'm on the way. When we moved here in 2002, Montana was ranked 50th. We're now 49, so we're moving up. This is good.
That's thanks to you and Spectrum Window. So it's interesting to hear you bring up PR, because I think a lot of us in the state, whether we grew up here or moved here, are nervous about bragging about ourselves because it's not like a braggy state, and then you're a humble bragger, and then people are hating on you. And really, the fact of the matter is there are success stories that should get PR across the state or outside of state lines. Yeah. So I just say my vote is to help be a conduit for getting that sort of press release or PR out there, so that people are getting written up in the trade journals or in the news in the way that they deserve. And I think coming from the High Tech Alliance, maybe it would be better received.
Well, I think it's easier. There are things that I can say about a company that would be received better than if a company is to say it about themselves. So it's like we're kind of a neutral third party, although really I think of myself as like a PR arm for a lot of our companies, because I'm not going to feature anything negative, but we do there are tremendous success stories, so we do try to put that out in big ways and small, and I think that our biggest challenge is I'm still the only employee, so we're somewhat limited, and then I hire contractors to help with writing and marketing, and Thomas Curdy with Indigena does a lot of great photography and video work for us, and so we've got some great people that we're partnering with to help get the word out. But I think sometimes I feel like I'm my own bottleneck in getting the word out, but we're working on ways that we can maximize our resources to ramp that up and kind of take the foundation we've built and make it even bigger and try to get some more reach.
Okay, so I'm getting the signal from Sid, since it's a couple minutes after 10, to kind of wrap it up with our final question, which is, and I know you sort of touched on this in the beginning of the Q&A, but more formally, what can the Missoula 1 Million Cups community do for you? And I will just say, Bozeman is going to be launching a monthly 1 Million Cups. It's sort of a new format that Kaufman Foundation is trying in smaller communities. So just something that we should all be aware of also. And I think you'd be happy to know that that's happening in Bozeman. But what can we do for you?
Yeah. I think if you are interested in joining, you can go on our website, and under membership there's a join tab, and you can complete the member application there. We would love to have any members in the room who are interested but not yet part of what we're doing. And again, if you know of companies that might be prospective members, particularly in the high tech and manufacturing space, or also like we have great partnerships with our affiliates. So those service companies, those service providers that are interested in serving the industry can also, they're also a huge benefit to our organization, because what we find is that as this industry gets bigger, we need professionals, like for instance in marketing or in financing, banking, like that are really experts in the unique needs of high-tech firms, so that they can, provide those great services and help them grow. So we're interested in all takers. So I have a stack of business cards too, so you're welcome to grab a card or take some for friends that might be interested. But yeah,
Great.
that'd be it. Thank you.
Christina, thank you very much.
Well, thank you.
Here's your 1 million cup.
Thank you. I will treasure it. Thank you.
Yes, and drink from it every day.
I just might.